Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. That was not my most glamorous entrance into the Hermitcraft episode right there. But what I wanted to say was that the base is looking awesome. I have not actually played on the server for probably the past 4 days, which is ridiculous. Okay, I never spend that much time away, but unfortunately, while I was away in Cornwall, I was doing some surfing, I was away in the camper van, which was absolutely fantastic. But then yesterday, I had the most killer day. And when I say killer, I mean bad. I spoke about this on Twitter and at the beginning of the previous episode of Hermitcraft. It's the reason the Hermitcraft episode was late. Basically, I was a total spoon. And I left my keys, all of my keys in Vicky's car in the morning. She went off to work. She works from like 7 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night. And I was like, oh, that's really frustrating because I just needed to upload that Hermitcraft episode. Then it would be good to go. So I was like, fine, you know what? I'll just wait. I will wait for Vicky to return. She got back and then I was like, okay, I've got my keys. I'm going to quickly go and upload this. Half an hour drive away. Might be able to get it out tonight. The camper van didn't start. It had run out of battery. I had left the light on the inside of the camper van, which meant that it wouldn't start. And I am gradually adding spoon moments here because I'm a total moron. Just yesterday was one of those days that nothing went right. Nothing went right in the slightest, so hopefully this one's a little bit better. But anyway, aside from that, plan number 1 for today's Hermitcraft episode is to create a super ridiculous squid farm going all the way around the outside of my base that will pick up all of the ink sacs that are dropped by all of the constantly suiciding squids that seem to just be dropping in everywhere. Hopefully it should be quite simple. Now, I'm trying my best to work out what actually looks good. I've placed in all of these minecart rails right here going across the top, and to be honest with you, I don't really like it. I don't really like the way that it looks, so I'm kind of experimenting with the idea of running the minecarts underneath. But the issue is water. I think we could be able to make this work, and it should be okay. And I as far as I remember, hopper minecarts do pick up items through blocks, so that shouldn't be an issue. I really don't want that hopper minecart just travelling around. I think it will look really ugly. So I've been doing some pretty serious work here. I have taken out all of the blocks underneath these blocks. I've taken out these blocks as well so that I can actually walk around. And I've just begun placing in all of the powered rails. So this is where our hopper minecart is going to be going, picking up all of the ink sacs. The only issue is that I definitely don't have enough powered rails to do this. My base is actually pretty big. I hadn't realised how big it is. And well, I think we're going to need probably about 4 stacks of powered rails. And I don't think I've got enough gold. Okay, I've got a bit of an issue right now. Oh, my word. Okay. I was very... What? Where did that come from? Oh, I'm such a goner. I'm so gone. I'm so gone. Get me away from the fire right now. That was probably the most scared I've been in a very long time. Very, very scared. Ah, I need a nether tunnel, man. Please, let there be no more. I have spent probably about the past 2 hours just doing this outside section just because I've had so little gold to do it. Oh no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a good feeling. That's a very, very good feeling. This thing is now done. We have finally, we've actually managed to do it. And I don't think there's any gaps. So here goes. Minecart is now in. It is now traveling round. And it should be picking up any form of ink that is on top of those blocks right there. And that ink is going to be dropped into these chests, which we can easily access. I've actually got some powered rail in there. But eventually this thing will make its way round. We should see it dropping through. It's picked up some ink. And it's dropped it off. Now there is a chance that we might need to add in a few extra hoppers just in case this thing begins to fill up. But I have to say, that is such a simple system. I don't see how that could break. Awesome! Okay, this thing's functioning. Let's clean everything up. Just as a quick side note, I've added in some extra hoppers to keep up with demand because the hopper minecart was filling up, and I've gone AFK for about an hour and we have got just under 2 stacks of ink sacs in that small space of time. Which, I mean, it's not ridiculous, it's not completely insane, but that is pretty good, considering I haven't really got any form of squid farm, it's just the edge of my base. Anyway, speaking of my base, we need to finish up these things. Now, when it comes to building this sort of thing, it's actually really quite difficult in terms of where you go with the geometry of it, because obviously we've got all of these crazy shapes and everything like that, and we need to make sure that the sea lanterns that we have running down the middle actually look like they're in the middle, which is fine, that's absolutely fine on a situation like this, but when you're dealing with a curve, it's so difficult, and I'm trying my best right now to create a system that kind of looks okay. I think maybe, I don't know, I guess I'll copy this side, so we got 3. Okay, yeah, I think I cut in it a little bit too early on this side, so then we need to go across 3 there. And I think, yeah, so then we should have 2 2s running in like this. My terminology here, when I say like 2 2s and things like that, is 2 block sections, and you got 3s, which are 3 block sections and things like that. But that should cut in like that. And then we'll end up with a single block and a single block. And hopefully, if we look at that from above, that should look fairly central, as if it's going right the way down like a band going through the middle. This is difficult. Final little sea lanterns going in now, and that should be that should be that, and everything should be set up correctly and identical to each side. So let's quickly run round, make sure that we haven't missed anything. Yep, it's all looking good. Right, it is now time to look at the fully completed base for the first time this Hermitcraft season. Now, I have to say, I am uploading a video right now, so as you can see, fireworks not really working particularly very well. Oh, internet, I wish you would be a little bit better than this. So in the process of trying to launch my fireworks, I've somehow managed to die. I don't know how I managed to die in the process of doing this, but I do appear to have done so. And hopefully all of my items are okay. Basically, I jumped off the edge with my elytra equipped. I flew down with my elytra. And then my stuff just exploded everywhere. Now, thankfully, it looks like nothing has picked it up. I don't really understand, though. I mean, I was flying, and I wasn't traveling that fast towards the floor, and I had activated my fireworks. Maybe just before I hit the ground, my fireworks kind of activated and just blasted me into the floor. Internet lag. I can understand why people complain about it. Finally, I have managed to get myself into the sky, and I've also done some extra bits with the base. So you can see already we have got the ribbons. The ribbons are looking super cool and super finished now, but also I've added in some lights going around the outside, which should hopefully help towards fixing our mob problem. But we're not going to stop there with lighting. I've had a really cool idea that I think could potentially work quite well, but it's also going to be fairly complicated to build. And by that I mean really complicated. I want to add in some block swappers that are going to swap out these blocks right here for lights when it begins to get dark. So these ones will be swapped out and we'll get a 2x2 area of sea lanterns, but also I want some extra lights popping up in this zone right here to stop any mobs from spawning. Let's just say this could be a bit of a tricky one. Now, I have to say, I'm kind of struggling here. I kind of came up with a concept for a design where we had all of the blocks in the center, and then we have these things on the outside, and certain pistons. So I'll try my best to display this using levers. And I will warn you, I've been working on this for about an hour now, to absolutely no avail, which isn't particularly very fun. So we have these pistons right here, and we have these pistons right here. We retract these pistons, and then we'd retract those pistons, extend these pistons, and then re-extend those ones, just like that. That's my idea for the block swapper. I thought it would be really nice and compact, but it does not seem to be, and it seems to be a fairly complicated circuit to actually set up. But I kind of want it to work, because I kind of think it will look really cool. Finally, I have created something. Now, I decided to ditch my original idea just because I couldn't really make it work in a small space, and I actually decided to go instead with like a super resource light design that isn't really too compact, But the smart thing about it is it doesn't really use too many repeaters. It's mostly just redstone dust and redstone torches. The only expensive part is this kind of section right here with 4 repeaters, I suppose, 6 repeaters and this observer. Not too bad. And as you can see, it actually functions. I don't really understand how I've managed to make it function. You can see there's some slightly funny behavior with the pistons, but the timing is perfect. So that means that if we actually get ourselves some prismarine and we place that around in this area right here, so that's going to be like our floor level. I suppose I should probably be using cyan. And then if we get ourselves some sea lanterns, that will be what it looks like when the light is popped up. And then when the daylight sensor switches off, that light will be put away and it will be hidden under the ground so it doesn't look really ugly. So it will pop up only at night because, let's face it, I mean, I don't know how good that is actually going to look. And I've just remembered the reason why I wanted to do the piston thing. It's because these two are going to be too close. So all of that hard redstone work has been totally for nothing. Oh, I love my life sometimes, I really do. I added a bunch of things to the spoon counter before heading back off to my redstone world and doing some extra designing for a couple more hours, and I am really happy with the end result. If we take a look at this thing, you can see that this is a smaller redstone design. It's actually less resource heavy. It uses less resources, which is very nice indeed. And it's faster and seems to be less mental in the way that it functions. The other one, it kind of looked a little bit dodgy while it was working, whereas this one is much better. And the good news is that we can place one facing in this direction and then the other one facing in the other direction, and we could even have them like this close together. So hopefully we now shouldn't run into any issues. Now let's start building them. Okay, I think the design is now completed. We've just got the final few pistons to put in. That block right there is going to be powering that one. And these are going to be our pistons. These are going to be our sea lanterns. And this is where our prismarine is going to be going, just for the time being. Okay, now if I flick this lever right here. Awesome. Not so awesome. 3 ticks maybe? Okay, cool. Right, we've managed to fix it. There is the block swapper. It works, it functions on the Hermitcraft server. That's brilliant. Alright, so if we swap this out with the cyan hardened concrete whatever, it should be completely hidden. So in the daytime, this is what the area is going to look like. Concrete, nothing going on or anything like that. Then our daylight sensor will trigger and everything will swap out and we will get ourselves some sea lanterns. So in the nighttime, when things could potentially spawn, we're going to stop that from happening from these things being placed right here. And if we take a look, it has been placed in the perfect area to never drop below. Yeah, it never drops below that horrible light number. Apart from right there. But that's because I'm missing a sea lantern on this block. We need a sea lantern right there. And there. In fact, we need a few sea lanterns around here. After the success of creating the first one, we still have 7 more to go. Yeah, we've got 7 more left to do. So I think I'm going to do that in the form of a time lapse. It seems like a much better idea. This is going to get very repetitive otherwise. Now this time-lapse chat is going to be a super fast one, and it's going to be talking about Twitter. Now, Twitter is a social network that I personally really like. I absolutely love Twitter. I love the format of Twitter. Twitter for me just makes sense as a social media type thing, and I have been doing Twitter for the entire time that I've had my YouTube channel. So I've always had my @thatmumbojumbo Twitter running alongside YouTube. Now in the early days, oh man, I used to use it kind of almost like a personal Twitter account, and I kind of just look back at some of my old tweets and just go, oh, why was I tweeting that sort of thing? Like, why would I tweet that sort of thing out to all of my followers and everything like that? There are some really stupid tweets on there. But now Twitter is kind of like, for me, is like an announcement thing, but also something that I occasionally joke around on, and I talk about various different things that are happening with the YouTube channel. And the reason I bring this up is because, obviously, I discussed all of the reasons why the previous episode of Hermitcraft was going to be late, okay? I mentioned the fact that I had left my keys in Vicky's car. I mentioned the fact that then I couldn't get my keys back from Vicky and I was going to be late on the episode. And then I mentioned the fact that even though I now had my keys, the camper van had broken down, so I still wasn't going to be able to put out the episode. All of that was mentioned. But I still got a ton of comments down in the comment section asking me, where is the Hermitcraft episode? It's meant to be here, you're the worst YouTuber ever. And if you guys are just following me on Twitter, then you would know about this stuff. And the reason that I bring it up is because we're currently on 92,000 followers on Twitter. That's pretty good, but I really, really want to hit 100,000, okay? I would love to have 100,000 Twitter followers. I seriously would. And I know that there are more than 8,000 people watching this video right now who aren't following me on Twitter, who probably could. So please, I beg of you, please follow me on Twitter. I would massively appreciate that. Maybe, just maybe, with your help, I can get to 100,000 followers finally. It's been 5 years of hilarious pure fire tweets. I don't understand why you guys aren't over there, to be honest with you. So please, 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 please follow me. I'll put a link to it down in the description. If we hit 100,000 followers by this weekend or whatever, then, I don't know, I'll do something special. I'll think of something. But I just please, 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 please. Thank you. Right, let's hop back onto the Hermitcraft server. Oh, and if you don't have Twitter, make a Twitter account and follow me. Please, just come on. Finally, I have connected up all of the different redstone circuits. We have got all of our block swappers in place, bar the one that is currently under the spoon counter. Eventually, I'm going to move this thing, but for the time being, it's going to be staying there. So I decided it probably wasn't a good idea to build a swapping light underneath it. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to leave this stuff behind for the time being, and I'm going to try my best to get myself a mending book. I don't know how I seem to just have evaded AFK fishing for this entire time, but I need some enchanted gear. Look at my equipment right now. It is really, really taking a beating. We need mending. We seriously, seriously need mending. So, yeah, I'm just going to go AFK fishing overnight, and we're going to see what we can get. And we are back online. Now we are going to see what we've got. By the look of things, we have got some... Look at these guys. That is the best face in the world. That's scary, though. Can you imagine that? Just that. Oh. Anyway, aside from that, I didn't realise. I knew that we could get petrified pufferfish heads. I'd seen those before, and oh dear. Oh, it looks like we might have filled up our hoppers, guys. Well, I mean, we've got some efficiency 4 books, and those are always handy to have. We have Thorns 2. It's really important. Efficiency 4 again. We're getting very lucky there. Efficiency 4 again. Efficiency 4 again. I'm breaking 3, another handy one to have around. Sweeping edge 3, I'm liking that. Knockback 2, not so good. Infinity, that's definitely handy to have around. Petrified clownfish, I'm liking that. Efficiency 4. Man, I remember the days when I would really struggle to get efficiency 4. By the look of things, we seem to just be absolutely smashing it. Frostwalker 2, that's going to be helpful because we work in water a lot. Mending! Yes! Okay, I'm going to keep looking through all these books. By the look of things, about 90% of them are efficiency-related books. I mean, seriously, look at this. Yet more. And wow, petrified salmon. I didn't even realise salmon was a thing. That's even more that's horrendous. That's really scary. Okay, cool. Right. Let's chuck all of these books into my storage system. We have a thing happening. We have a thing happening. Yep. No. Yes. Oh! It's too early for that. My voice just disappeared. I've decided to switch over the beacon above the Guardian farm into a haste 1 and regeneration beacon, and that's just simply so that I can actually make use of the XP feature of the Guardian farm, because as you know, Guardians have thorns, so if I hit these guys, I actually take quite a large quantity of damage, especially when I don't have my armor on, because my armor gets destroyed by hitting these guys. But it does mean that I can actually use it as an XP farm now, instead of just having it for drops. The next project that we need to work on is we need to connect up all of these daylight sensors right here into all of the different swappers that we have, because obviously, you know, running along and manually swapping these things out will be a bit of a pain in the backside. So we actually need to connect these up so that they only pop out during the night time. Now, this should be easy. This should be easy enough. We should just be able to run in the redstone line. I know exactly where these things are, so hopefully we don't run into too many issues. But one thing that I did totally forget about is the fact that a lot of this area right here is in fact water, which means that we have got a lot of water to wire through. This could be interesting. Maybe a little bit more challenging than I first expected. Right, this should be the final one all connected up. So that has swapped around, everything is good, and if we trace back this redstone line, it kind of winds around the entire thing. Now, there are a few things that I had to think about when I was building this, things that I totally forgot. Obviously, the water was one of the main things, but you may notice I'm also kind of following this line right here, and that's partly because it's self-lighting, so that means that all of my tunnels are fully lit up, don't have to worry about that. But also because inside this area here has to be fully solid blocks, because otherwise that affects the efficiency of the Guardian farm. So all of this area on the inside of here should be fully solid. Now I'm quickly going to run round and just make sure that I have adhered to that, and I've made sure that it does remain fully solid, because in the beginning I kind of mined into it. I was doing some wiring through there, but it all looks pretty good to me now, apart from this section here. So let's quickly fill in all of these blocks, make sure that we aren't affecting the efficiency of the Guardian farm, because that would be pretty terrible, right? My whole base is based around creating a stupidly efficient Guardian farm. It would be silly if we start destroying that, essentially. But these are the daylight sensors, and if we connect these things up, when this thing gets dark, we should begin to see all of the lights. And I guess now we wait. We just wait and see if this actually functions. The sun is going down, so hopefully it shouldn't be too long, and hopefully nobody sleeps really early so that we don't actually see this happening. Okay, I think it should be about to start happening. So I'm going to put in a message saying please don't sleep. And we shall see if we manage to get any form of lights popping up here. I feel like it should have happened by now. I definitely feel like it should have happened by now. Those guys, please tell me they're not actually going to sleep. Those cheeky devils. It's not working though, is it? I wonder, have I connected up the daylight sensors wrong? I really don't want to miss it, but it's definitely way too dark now. Let's see. Well, they are powering everything. I'm such a moron. There we go. And that's just triggered the whole system. Oh, for goodness sake. I missed all of it happening because I placed in a block in the correct or incorrect area. Well, I think to round up today's Hermitcraft episode, I should say that this does actually function. I don't think we have to worry about lighting up this area here because mobs don't spawn inside Ocean Monument, and this level here is considered part of the Ocean Monument, which is very, very handy, which means we only have to light up these zones. But I think Yeah, that's definitely one for the spoon counter right there. We're doing pretty well in terms of the spoon counter. We already have 2 bars out of 10, which probably isn't the best to start. So I'm going to have to check out Exuma's derp counter and see how well he's doing. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I've got time for today. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Hermitcraft. If you did, please sure to that like button. And if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.